It started on an ordinary Thursday night. Logan Brooks was an insomniac, not the poetic kind who stayed awake contemplating the mysteries of life, but the restless, caffeine-drenched kind who stared at his phone for hours, waiting for sleep to arrive like a late bus that never came. He lived alone in a small, dimly lit apartment on the 9th floor of an aging building in downtown Chicago. The kind of building where the hallway lights flicker more often than they worked, and neighbors kept their eyes low and conversations shorter. Logan had grown used to the silence, a silence so deep, even the hum of his fridge felt intrusive. It was 12:47 a.m. when he got the first notification. His phone buzzed once. Just once. At first, he ignored it. Thought it was probably a late email or a spam message. But then he saw the preview on the lock screen. Unknown, turn around. Logan blinked. His room was completely still. The glow of his phone cast faint shadows on the ceiling. He slowly turned his head. There was no one behind him, just the worn-out curtain, slightly swaying from the cracked window. He sat up, now fully alert. There was no app icon, no sender ID, nothing. Just the message, turn around. He chuckled nervously, assuming it was some glitch or prank app. Maybe one of those shady programs that auto-generate creepy notifications to mess with you. He went to his app drawer, swiping fast. But he found nothing new. No app with notification permissions. Nothing in the message history. The message was gone too, like it had never existed. Then came the second notification. 1:03 a.m. unknown. I said turn around. This time, Logan's breath caught in his throat. He didn't laugh. He didn't blink. He froze, because the words weren't just text. They felt louder, like they echoed inside his skull. A dread started to form deep inside him, a cold, creeping unease that rose from his stomach to his chest. He stood up, slowly, cautiously, and turned. Nothing. Again. Just the curtain. Only now, the curtain wasn't swaying. It was completely still. Dead still. As if someone was holding it from the other side. Logan walked toward it, inch by inch, feet cold against the wooden floor, phone still in hand. The hallway light outside his apartment buzzed faintly through the thin fabric. He reached out, hesitant fingers brushing the cloth, and yanked it aside. Nothing. But before he could sigh in relief, his phone buzzed again. 1:07 a.m. unknown. You miss me. Look down. Logan's heart dropped into his stomach. Slowly, he looked down at the floor and froze. There were footprints. Wet, muddy footprints. Right in front of the window. Barefoot. Human. But Logan hadn't stepped there. And he hadn't opened the window tonight. That's when he noticed something else. The footprints weren't leading in from the window. They were leading away from it. Like someone had been standing inside watching him and had silently walked away. But the question was, where did they go? Logan's phone buzzed again. 1:09 a.m. unknown. Don't move. He's still in the room. This time, Logan dropped the phone. He wanted to scream, but his voice wouldn't work. His legs felt like they belonged to someone else. He stood there in complete silence, cold sweat trickling down his back, listening for anything, a breath, a step, a rustle. But there was only the silence. Until something creaked behind him. Logan didn't turn around. He couldn't. That creak, it wasn't just a sound, it was a warning. Like the groan of a predator shifting its weight behind its prey. He stood still, paralyzed, as the air around him grew denser. Heavy. Suffocating. The only sound in the room was his own heartbeat, rapid, panicked, pounding in his ears like war drums. He clenched his jaw, trying to control his breathing. The muddy footprints were still there on the floor, but now they were wet again. Fresh. And that didn't make any sense. He finally forced himself to bend down, trembling, and picked up his phone. The screen was cracked but still on. One new message blinked on the screen. 1:11 a.m. unknown. He's behind the couch now. Logan's eyes slowly shifted toward the couch in the corner of the room, the one directly beside him. He hadn't heard anything move. No dragging. No shuffle. But now, as he listened closer, he heard it, the faintest sound of breathing. Shallow. Wet. Raspy. Like something struggling to stay quiet. He took a step back, his heel sliding slightly on the wet wood. Another buzz. 1:12 a.m. unknown. Don't run. It'll chase. His lungs collapsed. Panic gripped him like a vice. But then something even worse happened. The phone went black. No battery warning. No shutdown screen. Just dead. And yet the buzzing continued. The phone vibrated in his hand, even though it was off. His fingers trembled as he turned it over. And there, scratched deep into the back of the plastic case, as if clawed by something sharp, were the same words. "Turn around." Logan snapped. He bolted for the front door, legs screaming, lungs burning. He grabbed the handle. It wouldn't budge. Locked. He unlocked it, or tried to. The bolt turned halfway, then jammed. Behind him, he heard the couch creak. Very slowly, as if something heavy was rising from behind it. Logan didn't look back. He threw his shoulder against the door once, twice. On the third hit, the bolt snapped. He stumbled out into the hallway, nearly falling. The corridor was dark, only the exit sign faintly glowing red at the end like blood in a fog. And then, his phone buzzed again. No screen. Still dead. But it buzzed. And a whisper, not from the phone but from the hallway, reached his ear. A voice. Male. Ragged. Smiling. Too slow. Logan turned to run toward the elevator, but the hallway stretched. He blinked. The end of the hallway was now miles away. Like the building had warped, twisted, bent reality itself. The doors to the other apartments were gone, replaced by black, shifting panels. Walls pulsed like they were breathing, like the entire floor had become something alive. Another buzz. 1:15 a.m., unknown. You left the door open. Logan turned around, and that's when he saw it. His apartment door wide open. But inside, it wasn't his apartment anymore. It was something else. A void. A flickering black nothingness, humming, vibrating, with what looked like a face forming in the dark. Not human. Not entirely. And it was smiling. Logan couldn't take his eyes off the doorway. That thing standing inside, or maybe floating, wasn't human. It had a face that resembled a man, but it was stretched wrong, as if someone had tried to remember what a person looked like from memory, and failed. Its grin was crooked, teeth too sharp, too many. And the eyes, they were all black, like wells that led somewhere far beneath reality. The buzzing started again, not from a phone this time, from inside his head, like static scratching the inside of his skull, like 1,000 whispers trying to speak at once. Logan staggered backward, clutching his head, eyes still locked on the thing in the doorway. And then the entity spoke, but not out loud. Inside him. Come back inside, Logan. He froze. He had never told the app his name. Hell, he hadn't even spoken out loud all night. Another whisper. You left your door open. That's rude. Logan backed up until his back hit the opposite hallway wall. His knees buckled. Something about the way the thing moved, not walking but folding forward through space, was breaking his brain. And just as the thing took a step toward the hallway, slam, the door shut. By itself. Everything went silent. For a moment. Then, knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks. Logan held his breath. Another knock. This time from behind him. There was no door behind him. He spun around. There was a door now. Old. Wooden. Cracked paint. He hadn't noticed it before. It wasn't there before. The hallway was changing again, molding itself around him. The exit sign flickered, then vanished completely. The walls were now covered in peeling wallpaper that hadn't been there moments ago, yellowed and rotting, crawling with black mold, and something moving inside. He was trapped. Bus. He looked down. The phone, still dead, now displayed one final message across the cracked screen in blood-red letters. You turned around. Now you belong. The hallway groaned. Behind the door that hadn't existed moments ago came the sound of footsteps. But not human footsteps. Hooves. Heavy dragging clawed hooves. And something breathing. Deep. Wet. And too large to be in that small of space. Suddenly, the lights exploded. Every bulb in the hallway shattered at once. Logan screamed. Everything went black. And then, a soft ding. The elevator at the far end of the warped hallway, now somehow closer, opened. Inside stood himself. Logan. Same clothes. Same face. Same phone in hand. But his eyes were black. And he smiled. Found you. __. Logan stared at himself. The elevator's dull light flickered over the figure standing inside, identical in every way, except for those black, endless eyes and the chilling grin stretching too wide across his face. The other Logan. It stepped out slowly, dragging one foot as if mocking him. You shouldn't have turned around, it whispered, though its lips never moved. Logan's legs gave out. He backed against the wall, frozen, tears threatening to spill as the lights in the hallway flickered with every step that thing took. Every flicker warped the corridor. Peeling walls became flesh. The carpet pulsed like it had a heartbeat. The doors lining the hallway twisted into wide, gaping mouths, lined with human teeth, silently screaming. Then his phone, the one still dead, buzzed one final time. Just a single message. 2 a.m. unknown, run. Without thinking, Logan shot to his feet and ran. Past the shifting walls, past the melting doors, deeper into the labyrinth his apartment building had become. The walls stretched, pulsed, breathed around him. Behind him, the sound of his own footsteps, but louder, heavier, echoing unnaturally. And then came the voice again. You already turned. There's nowhere else to go. He reached a stairwell, or what used to be a stairwell. Now it spiraled downward into a pit of darkness, the steps bending like bone, wet and slick. Logan had no choice. He ran down, and down, and down, each level darker than the last. The buzzing in his head growing louder, the air thick with rot and static. Finally, he burst into a door labeled Beneath. It opened with a scream. Inside, Logan found himself in a room made of mirrors, hundreds of reflections of himself staring back, but not quite right. Some were grinning. Some were crying. One was missing its eyes entirely. And in the center of the mirrored room, his phone lay on a pedestal. New, untouched, lit up, buzzing. He stepped forward, despite every part of his body screaming not to. The reflections moved out of sync with him, each one doing something different, scratching, bleeding, twitching. He picked up the phone. Only one notification. No timestamp. Just a single line. You turned around. Now watch what you've let in. Suddenly, every reflection turned toward him in unison. Every mirror cracked. And from behind each reflection, something began to crawl through. Inhuman things, thin, pale arms with too many joints, faces stitched from pieces of people he didn't recognize. And behind them came himself again. The black-eyed Logan. Tak, you're it. The mirrors shattered. The room exploded into darkness. Logan woke up, on his couch, phone buzzing beside him. His apartment looked normal. Morning sunlight leaked through the curtains. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum. Just a dream. It had to be. He picked up his phone, breath unsteady. One notification. 7:13 a.m. unknown. Thanks for letting me in. His smile faded. He slowly turned toward the hallway and froze. There were muddy footprints leading from the door, all the way to where he sat.